Welcome to Two Girls, One Crime, the podcast where we peel back the layers of the darkest crimes ever committed, one terrifying tale at a time. I'm your host, Christy, and with me as always is my beautiful co-host, Kayla.
Yay. And today we're diving into one of the most heartbreaking and disturbing stories in American true crime history. This is the murder of Sylvia Marie Likens, a case so brutal it shook the conscience of an entire nation.
So I first heard this story when I stumbled across the movie The Girl in the Basement.
Yes.
So I think on the start of it, it did say based loosely on a true story. So that, of course, intrigued me, and I started looking it up. My God, this story is awful.
Mm-hmm.
It is just, like, to even think about someone doing these things was awful. But let's start from the beginning. So we'll start with Sylvia's life. So Sylvia was born January 3rd, 1949 in Lebanon, Indiana, to carnival workers Lester and Betty Likens. She did have siblings. She had an older sister. I'm not sure of her name, but she was married and off when all this started. And then she had a little sister named Jenny who had polio and had braces on her legs. So
they also had a little brother.
Did they have a little brother?
They did have a little brother.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wonder whatever happened to him or
I
where
don't
he
know.
was at during all
But
this.
he is on her final grave. She does have a brother.
Wow.
So.
Well, I did not know that. So Sylvia Likens was a 16-year-old girl. She had soft, wavy brown hair, a beautiful smile, and she was so gentle. She was the kind of teenager who seemed to shrink into herself rather than cause trouble. In the summer of 1965, her parents, Lester and Betty Likens, left Sylvia and her sister Jenny in the care of a woman named Gertrude Benezeski. So they came across Gertie by her older daughter, Paula. Paula and Sylvia had met, and they kind of became friends over the summer. And you know how
I think they went to church together.
They did. But you know how teenage girls are. They just, let's stay together. It'll be wonderful. We'll just have sleepovers every night. Well, that did not happen. That was not the case. So Gertrude was a single mother with 7 kids. She was very overwhelmed. I'm pretty sure she was an alcoholic. She was a avid smoker. She was always coughing from what everybody said. She was working as a seamstress. No, a laundry. She did laundry. She ironed people's clothes.
Yeah.
Yes. So she would pick up work by ironing, which, that's not going to last very long. There's only so many pants you can iron in the neighborhood before people move on.
It was 7 kids.
Can you imagine 7
No.
kids? Listen.
We got 4.
Right.
They make me want to strangle myself.
Absolutely. It is. I cannot imagine being a single mom with 7 kids.
So she had 7 kids plus Jenny and Sylvia.
Yeah. So that's extra
9
mouths.
kids.
That's extra clothes. That's extra showers. That's, money's going out the window already. But Gertie was promised $20 a week by Lester and Betty. But, they're carnival workers. Their money's not consistent either. So when that first check did not make it on time, that's when the abuse started. And I don't mean just a couple slaps. I mean, it went wild. It started out a little bit easy. Okay, we're going to beat on Sylvia a little bit. Your mom and dad didn't send the money. You're just a burden. Well, it quickly escalated to the whole neighborhood coming over and beating on her. So she was still going to school when it all first started. But then there was a rumor that got started that supposedly Sylvia said that Paula was pregnant. I think that's how it started.
Yes.
Which she actually was pregnant, but she didn't want her mom to know. So she blamed it all on Sylvia, said Sylvia started the rumor. So this led to Gertie just completely taking her out of school and throwing her in the basement to be alone.
So she started beating her before she found out that Paula was pregnant.
She did, but it wasn't as bad. I mean, any beating's bad, but she started by just, slapping her a little bit.
But what was
not giving her food.
But what was her purpose before that? Just because she didn't get the money? Because
yeah, she took it out. Apparently, it was Sylvia's fault that her parents didn't send money in.
But they received money, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she still beat her.
Yeah. I mean, eventually the check came, but she still had already started beating her, so.
And $20 a week.
$20 a week.
I wonder how much that was back then. Because that was the 60s.
I don't know how much it would equate to. Can you look that up? But, I mean, I'm sure it was $20 a week is extra food.
But I wonder if she actually But what was she doing with the money? Because she was beating Sylvia.
Well, her last baby, Gertie's last baby's dad, was only like a 20-year-old kid. He didn't have a steady job, so he would come over, talk her into sleeping with him, and then he would ask for money. So most of her money was going there, cigarettes, and booze.
So she would use all that money to give away while she whored around.
Absolutely. Yes.
I mean, if you're going to whore around, at least make money out of it.
Well, apparently she wasn't a good whore. So
I guess not.
I mean, her money's going out the window, and she's beating poor Sylvia.
I mean, if you're going to sleep around, at least make some money out of it.
Well, I don't think Gertie was the prettiest of ladies, and
She was
I'm
mean.
sure her clientele wasn't the best. But
It's
who
true.
knows? But soon, Gertie had already started these beatings, and soon it got worse. At one point, Gertie made her come up from the basement, strip all of her clothes off in front of the neighborhood boys, all of her own kids, and insert a Coke bottle into her vagina. And she did this so much that eventually Sylvia couldn't go to the bathroom. Poor girl would just pee on herself. She did put her on a mattress. Well, Sylvia couldn't hold it, after all the trauma to her vagina, so she just started peeing in the bed, and this, of course, would start more beatings. Gertie would have her kids take her up to the bathroom, give her a scalding bath, and of course her skin's breaking down, so she's got open wounds, and then they would rub salt into these wounds.
So what was the point in the Coke bottle?
Because she called her a whore. She thought
So
she was a
it
whore.
was. So they were thinking that she was a whore.
They were
so
thinking
they
that
thought
Sylvia
that
was a whore.
her doing that wouldn't hurt. Or did they know that she wasn't a whore? And she wanted to be in pain?
I think it was a ploy. I think that everybody knew that Sylvia was a virgin. She'd never even kissed a boy.
Yeah.
So this was her way of
She was a
degrading
good
her.
girl.
She was a good girl. She was very sweet.
Maybe they were jealous of that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Sylvia's young. She's pretty. And, of course, the neighborhood boys liked her and were giving her attention. Well, Gertrude didn't like that.
She wanted all the attention.
Absolutely. Her whoring business wasn't going very well, so she wanted everybody to like her.
So I did look up the $20 in the 60s. So $20 in the 60s would be worth about $216 today.
I mean, that's a lot of money.
So,
back
yeah.
then. Yeah.
She would definitely be making a lot of money.
Heck yeah,
so,
$200 a week.
especially back then, everything was a lot cheaper.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I would be mad too, but I wouldn't go beat on somebody if I didn't receive it.
Well, right. But you're going to owe me back pay, I'll tell you
Yeah.
that much. But the jealousy thing went so far as Gertrude actually had one of the neighborhood boys take a hot knife and carve into Sylvia's abdomen. I am a prostitute and proud of it.
So who done that?
It was Coy, I believe. Coy was Paula's boyfriend, and he was not a nice kid.
No.
I'll tell you that. He was not a nice kid at all. He would, gosh, this is so crazy. So they started tying Sylvia up, like standing up, and her poor toes barely touched the ground. But Coy would come down and do karate moves on her. And he would kick her, he would beat her, he would stand her up and then push her into a wall, just karate chopped her.
Was Coy Paula's or was that Stephanie's boyfriend?
I thought it was Paula's, but it may have been Stephanie's. Either way, it's all freaking a mess.
Yeah. Because Paula got pregnant by the convenience store worker who was married at the time.
Yes, the married man.
She was a side piece.
She sure was.
And
You'd think that would be okay with Gertrude, because I'm sure Gertie was a side piece
oh,
everywhere.
yeah.
The whole thing is just disgusting. And I know Gertrude's in hell now. She did die in the 90s, so hopefully she's getting what she deserves down there.
Well, she was only sentenced 20 years.
Can you believe that? 20
No.
years for a woman's life, or a little girl's life.
But then Paula was sentenced too, right after she had the baby.
Which, by the way, she named Gertrude, because that's insane.
Yeah.
I'm going to name my new baby after my mother, who killed a little girl for no reason because she was a whore. A nasty whore.
Well, Paula was one too because she's the one that caused it all, so.
Absolutely. But Sylvia, bless her heart. So, like I said before, her sister Jenny was in braces because she had polio. So, Sylvia took the brunt of it all so that Gertrude would not touch her sister Jenny.
Did she ever try?
I think at first she slapped her a little bit, and I know that she tried. She did. She didn't try. She did. She made Jenny beat on Sylvia as well. And if Jenny didn't smack her hard enough, then Jenny would get smacked. So Sylvia told her, just do it. Just do what she says.
So what happened to Jenny after all that?
So the day that all this happened, so it ended because they found Sylvia dead in the basement because her poor body could not take any more. She died of shock, so she ended up dying of shock and
Blunt force trauma to the head.
Trauma. Yes, that's what it was. So once her poor body gave up, they did have to call the police because they have a dead body here. Jenny was brave, went up to the police officer and said, "If you will get me out of here, I will tell you everything." So Jenny's actually the one that brought the whole story to light.
Well, I believe Stephanie is the one that found her.
Really?
Yeah. She was telling Gertrude that she thought she was dead. And she said, oh, she's just playing. She'll wake up. But then they ended up calling the police and they came. And that's when they found her dead.
But I guess Jenny did tell everything. Gertrude was beating on Sylvia. She was force feeding her. When she would feed her, she would force feed her to the point where she would throw up. And then she would make Sylvia eat that like a dog.
That's disgusting.
Like, how do you even think about that?
I don't know. I don't even like throwing up. Could you imagine eating it?
Or making someone else do it, a little girl?
That's gross.
Like, what kind of mind do you have? Insane.
So Gertrude was convicted for first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. But then she was released after only 20 years.
Yes, and she moved away and called herself Nadine and just lived out her life till she died, and when she should have died from blunt force trauma shock. So Gertrude did not get what she deserved.
She literally tortured her.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So over the summer, Kayla and I actually got to go visit Sylvia's grave. We went to Sylvia's grave.
There's a memorial down the road from where her house used to stand that was put up as an elementary school, actually.
It's a beautiful memorial. When we
saw
it was very pretty. Her grave is very peaceful. We talked to the people that owned the cemetery and worked there, and they said that people came all the time to visit Sylvia. They would bring her
even
gifts.
Out of the country.
Yes.
People would come. So
Yes.
That's definitely made nationwide.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you don't hear cases like this every day, thank God, but
And people are even still sending her flowers.
oh yes, the mysterious Martin.
Yes.
We don't know who Martin is, but Martin had sent flowers to Sylvia.
But it was very personal because it was put as to Cookie on there.
Which people didn't really know that, but Cookie was a name that Sylvia's dad used to call her. That was his pet name for her. So whoever Martin is knew
It had
this.
to be very personal.
Yes, yes.
And people that would have been her age would be in their 70s today. So I just wonder if it's somebody that knew her personally.
Could be somebody she went to school with in her brief time
Yeah.
that she went to school. Who knows?
I just want to know who that was.
Would love
Because
to
her
know,
grave,
too.
she's buried in Indiana, which is where it happened.
So Martin, if you're out there, won't you tell us who you are?
Yes, please. I want to know.
I hope it's somebody that she went to school with
Yeah.
and that remembers her fondly, and it's not some freak that's sending up dead girl flowers because he's in love with her. Or
It's
married to
kind
a
of
ghost or
weird.
something.
But hopefully it's personal.
I hope so. I hope that she had such a bad life. I hope that in death she's resting and happy.
Well, and they also tore the house down where all that happened. So now it's just a memorial parking lot that you about killed us in. So.
Absolutely. So there was a lot of road work when we were going, and it was a one-way street that I did not know, and it was a very scary part of town. So I went the wrong way, and I just hooped it into this parking
A
lot.
wrong way, one way street.
How did you die?
Almost. My life flashed, literally.
Listen, it was a scary place, and I whipped it in there, and I was like, whew, okay,
I
we're
think
here.
Sylvia saved us that day. She was our guardian angel.
God knows we needed it. So, funny story about that house, though. If you will go on YouTube, and I'm not sure of the person, so I'm not going to cite it or anything, but there is a video of what appears to be Sylvia's ghost in the house, and you can clearly see that someone is walking upstairs.
Yes, I'm sure she's still, and it's sad that she's just still stuck in all that.
I hope she's not. I hope she's not. I hope she got to go to heaven and
No, I'm sure she did, but
do her thing. And I hope Gertrude is just on
haunting.
fire where she needs to be. And I
She's
hope
probably
she gets
haunting
tortured.
somebody too.
I'm sorry, but she's a bad person. So that negative energy just didn't go away.
No. Along with everybody else that done all that to her.
So the main characters were Coy. What's it? Coy Hubbard. That he got sentenced. Does it say what he got sentenced to?
No.
Well, they just served brief. So
he received convictions, but he served very light sentences, and I think Paula did too. And then there was another boy, the boy that had the crush on her.
Richard Hobbs was his
Yes. He got sentenced in with it too. But he died of lung cancer too when he was only 21.
name. Yeah, so we got the privilege. I wouldn't say privilege, I guess. We got to see his grave as well. Didn't look like anybody's ever visited him.
We literally had to pull the grass off of it.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have, either he doesn't have any family or nobody just comes and visits.
Right.
But
So Ricky was actually a neighbor boy that had a crush on Sylvia that would come over to see her. Well, somehow, and I'm guessing it's because Gertrude plied the neighborhood boys with alcohol and cigarettes, but Ricky decided to also start hitting Sylvia and listening to exactly what Gertrude told him.
But he had asked over and over and over where she was.
Mm-hmm.
And Gertie lied and said that she'd been bad and sent to juvie, which obviously wasn't true.
No,
And she was in the basement the whole time.
Yeah. Well, and I guess Ricky had told his mom, too, what was going on. And Ricky's mom said, well, we don't get involved with what the neighbors are doing. If that one person would have just stuck up for Sylvia,
Well, there was
she could have made it.
the neighbor woman who testified and said that she had heard things but never wanted to say anything because her husband always told her it wasn't their business to say anything. But she knew something was going on.
Okay. I love my husband with all my heart, but if I hear my neighbor doing something like that, sorry, babe, I'm going to I'm going to snitch so fast.
I just wonder what their way of thinking was back then, because nowadays people are so quick to tell on each other.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, they'll call CPS on you now for nothing.
But CPS also doesn't do anything.
Well, that's very true. But if I hear my neighbor's kids screaming and my son says, hey, something's going on.
But I feel like nowadays it's just going to be like, oh, well, Gertie said that everything was fun and all these kids are playing along with it. So I just feel like maybe, like nowadays, it would probably just be overlooked. But back then, would it even been taken into consideration?
Probably not, because you discipline your kids how you wanted.
So it wouldn't have really been considered abuse back then. I mean, surely if they went down there and seen her in the basement.
Right. Well, I think the slapping and the hitting at first would have been, oh, well, she's just disciplining her.
But her story of her being in juvie, too.
Right. Yeah, Sylvia was the sweetest girl ever.
Yeah.
So why would she go to juvie? She's never been in trouble.
And that's one of the things I wonder about, too. Like, the teachers and stuff that didn't see her there. Like, didn't they ever suspect anything?
Right. Where did she go? She's just not here.
Because, she would have been good in school.
Oh, absolutely. And then again, my question is, where is Lester and Betty? Did they not call and check on her? Did they not come over anytime?
Apparently not. Or write them.
Anything.
Which I think, I don't know if this is true, but in the movie, it shows that she did write letters, but they were thrown away, and that's how Jenny got a hold of the number to call them on.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's whenever they got in trouble, and I think Gertie actually ended up burning Sylvia's hands.
So you're saying that Jenny found a letter.
Jenny found the letter in the movie. Well, this could be wrong. I don't know. But in the movie, Jenny had found the letter that was thrown away in the trash can.
Mm-hmm.
And her and Sylvia, I guess after school, had went to the phone booth and called the number to call their mom.
Wow.
And then the other kids, Gertie's other kids, seen her in the phone booth, and they had to hurry up and hang up. And that was the last time I know that they got to talk to their parents.
Wow. Okay. I mean, that makes more sense.
But then in the movie, whenever Gertie finds that out, Sylvia gets her hands burnt by cigarettes.
Gosh. I do also know that one of the last times Sylvia was seen out, she got to go to a church function. But of course, Gertrude's kids went too. And unfortunately, they told Gertrude that she was stuffing her face full of food and I'm sure she was. She's freaking starving to death. I'm gonna eat whatever. So Gertrude, when she got home and the kids told her, Gertrude made her throw up, and that is another time that she made her eat it.
That's disgusting.
It's awful.
So I just wonder, like, what went through the kids' heads? Like, all these community kids that would come over and beat her. Like, what was going on in their head? Like, did any of them think that that was wrong?
I mean, you'd think that some of them did. There was,
or was
not
they just
just
playing
boys,
along because everybody else was? Surely
peer
other
pressure,
ones didn't
maybe?
want to.
I mean, there was girls coming in there too, and you see this girl tied up, beaten, hair pulled out, prostitute on her stomach, burns. You would think that somebody would be like, guys, this is not right.
Or go tell somebody at least.
Yes.
I mean, I would.
Oh, absolutely.
If I seen that, I'd be like, no way.
I mean, what were you thinking?
I don't know.
Did Gertrude, do you think that they were scared of her? Did she threaten all them too? And how confident are you that you're showing all these kids this and they're not going to go tell?
She had to be giving them something.
Oh, absolutely. I'd be scared to death. First of all, I wouldn't be beating on somebody.
No.
But if I was crazy and did this, in my head, I would think, oh my God, if I show all these kids what I'm doing, somebody's going to tell on me and I'm going to go to jail.
I'm just surprised that Jenny didn't try anything. Which I'm not saying she didn't.
I think she was scared to death.
But, I mean, if that was my sister.
Well, and a sad point to this is on the last day or the day before that Sylvia died, Jenny went downstairs to talk to her, and I think she was taking her some soup or water or whatever. But Sylvia had enough stamina to raise up and say, I think I'm dying, Jenny, so you need to get yourself out of here.
That's sad.
It's very sad to know you're 16 years old, you're dying in a basement alone, and you're so hurt.
You know Jenny had to have trauma from that.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, I have trauma from it just thinking about it from an outsider.
But I just wonder what happened to Jenny after.
I don't know. Did they send her back to her parents? You know, good old good old Betsy and Lester just, dropping them off at Big Gertie's house.
I want to know how they found out too. Because I think they were working in California at the time.
Yeah, so did they
So
send
that's
a
a
letter? Did they just
long
come by
way.
and pick up, getting ready to pick the girls up, and they're like, oh, by the way, Gertrude's in jail and your daughter's dead. Good luck.
I wonder if they felt any guilt from that or how
You
they
would
felt.
think that they would.
Because you don't never hear anything about their point of view on that.
Right.
Which, I mean, surely they feel guilty. You would think.
I mean, I would hope. As a parent, first of all, I wouldn't just drop my kid off with anybody.
No.
So why not just take them with you? At least you know they're safe.
You're going to
Homeschool
send
'em.
$20
Right.
a week. So why not just take them?
Yeah, save that $20.
Especially if
Get
they
some
were no
books.
trouble.
Yeah, get some books and homeschool them and go on about your business. Then you don't have to worry about anything.
I just wonder what their way of thinking was, because that doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Well, I know that there was some marriage trouble and they had separated a couple times and they had just gotten back together. So maybe Betty thought, oh, well, if we don't have the girls, we'll have us a big honeymoon and maybe this will save our marriage.
I wonder if Lester convinced her that things would be better
Maybe.
without them.
But
Or maybe to quote unquote work on their marriage.
Maybe, but then you leave your little cookie behind and
I
look what
don't
happens.
think the mom really wanted to leave.
I would hope not as a mother.
But I think she felt like maybe she had to in order to keep their family together.
But this story is very sad. It's awful. It's unfathomable. There should never be stories like this. People should grow up and just stop. Just stop being dumb.
So this went on for months.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says whenever they found her, the autopsy reported that she had over 150 wounds on her body.
Absolutely.
So could you imagine what she went through every single day for those months?
Not even just the
Just
physical
to be-
pain, but mental.
Yeah.
Like mentally.
Like, I bet she was praying to die.
Oh, I guarantee
I
it.
would be.
I mean, this started in early...
Or was she just...
1960... In July in 1965 is
And
when
she
this
was
started.
found October 26th.
Yep. So all that time, and it was a daily thing. It wasn't just Oh, well, she hit me
And
today.
multiple times a day.
Oh, absolutely.
By multiple people.
And the Coke bottle thing didn't just happen once, it happened numerous times. That's why she could not control her bladder.
I just can't even imagine.
But the
Like,
autopsy
that
did
is-
show that she died a virgin. So this whole thing was made up in Gertrude's head. And she tortured this girl for absolutely no reason. Gertrude made poor life choices, and Sylvia paid for them.
That's crazy.
It's sad. It's so very sad. And then Gertrude just gets to get out of prison after 20 years and change her name and move on. Oh, I get to be with my grandkids and my kids because, you know, I'm just the perfect mother.
So how does she get out that early?
Paroled her for good behavior.
Good behavior?
Right. That should never even be a
No, it
consideration.
shouldn't even be an option.
No, you
That's
killed
crazy.
someone,
And
you're done.
100% she would do it again.
Oh, absolutely. I'm surprised she didn't.
So I just wonder what she done whenever she went to be Nadine or whatever her name was. She probably wasn't any better.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm sure Nadine wasn't any better than Gertrude. You can name yourself whatever you want. You're still a horrible person.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if my mother did this to someone and I had a baby. First of all, I'm not naming it after her. And you will never see any of us ever again. You can live your life out right on the street by yourself where the garbage you are.
She just died in 1990, so that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, she got to finish her life. Sylvia's was cut short, but Gertie got to go on.
So I wonder if Paula and them had anything to do with their mom afterwards.
Paula did because she named that baby Gertrude.
Even after she went to prison,
Uh-huh.
and so I wonder if they stayed in touch.
From what I've heard, they did.
So I wonder if Paula's baby knows anything about how all that went.
Let me tell the story of how you got your name. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's insane. They're all insane. Just this whole story is so crazy.
I don't think any of Sylvia's family is living anymore. From
Probably
everything that I've
not.
read, like none of them are living that I know of.
Yeah, I think
I could be wrong, but
I know that Jenny died of a heart attack.
Jenny did die. She was only in her 50s.
Wow. So I wonder, did seeing all this put a strain on her heart? Was it PTSD? Did that contribute to her
I'm
death?
sure she had a lot of PTSD from not just seeing Sylvia, but her witnessing it herself.
And survivor's guilt. Can you
Oh, yeah.
imagine? My sister pretty much died for me.
Well, and the fact that she was made to do things too, so I'm sure she felt like, you know, she contributed to her death.
Oh, I guarantee it. I don't know. The whole thing is crazy. It's just there was no justice in this. Sylvia died, and she's in in Indiana, in a grave, and everybody else got to go on with their lives.
So she did have a brother. His name was Benny Likens. I'm assuming he was a smaller brother. And she also had an older sister, Diana, who I believe is still living today.
Really? Now I wonder if Diana was
Yes.
the one that was married and moved away.
She is. But I think I've read things before that I guess that they tried to get her to take them on, but she wouldn't. So I think that's why they sent her with Gertrude. I could be wrong, but
Well, if you're paying Gertrude $20 a week,
Yeah.
why not pay your daughter $20 a week?
See,
and
I
she's
don't
safe
know.
with her siblings.
Well, I don't know if because she was already married at the time. So does she have kids? I don't know the history behind that.
I know she did have a baby.
So maybe that's why. But I wonder if any of that, like any of the other family members that you don't hear about, what they think on that.
Yeah. So Sylvia's case is considered one of the worst crimes against a child in Indiana's history, or the world, I think. But she wasn't forgotten. Her story led to reforms in child abuse reporting laws and inspired books, documentaries, and even the 2007 film An American Crime, which is the one that I saw.
But nothing, and we mean nothing, can truly capture the suffering that she endured, and it's up to us to keep her memory alive. Sylvia was a real girl. She laughed, she dreamed, and she had her whole life ahead of her.
So tonight, light a candle, say her name, and if you ever suspect a child is in danger, don't be a bystander.
Be the one who acts, because Sylvia deserves that. Every child does.
Thanks for listening to Two Girls, One Crime. If you found this story as heartbreaking and infuriating as we did, please leave a review and share it with someone who needs to hear it.
And remember, monsters aren't always strangers in the dark. Sometimes they live right next door.
Stay
Stay
safe,
safe,
stay smart, and stay curious.